Hello everybody. I am going to be recording this during parent-teacher conferences, so if I have to pause randomly, it's because someone walked in, or if you hear any other side conversations, there's just noise going on out in the hall and other teachers talking. So hopefully it's not that distracting, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. In this lesson, we will be discussing warm and cool colors and color schemes, and then I'll explain the assignment to you at the end. So first of all, our warm colors are one half of the color wheel, and that's going to be any color that basically kind of makes you think of light, fire, warmth, and in those types of ways. So we have red, violet, red, red, orange, orange, yellow, orange, and yellow. So the color wheel is made up of 12 colors. 6 of them are going to be considered warm colors, and 6 of them are going to be considered cool colors. When you do decorate with warm colors, you are creating more of a cozy atmosphere, and warm colors tend to bring in light, and they like as in make the light come in. So because of that, it does make a room appear smaller, and then it does give that cozy feel, because in warm rooms you do feel warmth because of the colors that we associate with fire and sunlight and warmth and things like that. So you will have your rooms appear a little bit more smaller and cozy. So if you want to expand the look of space in your homes or rooms, I would avoid warm colors, try to stick more to a cool color scheme. But let me show you some examples of some warm color schemes. All right, so we have this very dark living room with the velvet couch and the floral wallpaper, very dark, very kind of academia, old world type style, and it definitely kind of brings that room in, makes it look smaller. On the next one, we have a little bit more of a brighter look. You have a brighter orange being used with some different patterns and some greenery to kind of make it look a little less closed in, but it does still give that cozy feel. Here we have a bohemian style bedroom using the warm colors with the dark orange walls, and you've got the yellow bedding, the greenery to kind of help balance it out a little bit, and it definitely kind of gives that cozy warm feel. And then we have this mid-century modern living room using orange walls, yellow couches. It does have some blues in there, but not very much. It's definitely more of a warm color scheme space. All right, here we have a little bit more brighter one to kind of help not close the space in so much, but it does still give that cozy feel. You have the light wallpaper with a lot of white in it, but you have that light orange floral print. And then you also have the orange accessories on the bedding and the orange mirror. In the bathroom, you've got the yellow walls, and you have the kind of yellowish flooring to bring in that space as well. All right, now we're going to move on to our cool colors. This is going to be the other half of the color wheel, our other 6 colors. And you're going to have green, blue, blue, violet, violet, and yellow green. People do associate these colors with water, peace, and restfulness, because water does tend to give that relaxing feeling, how water moves. And these colors are associated with water, which kind of helps give that feeling of peace and restfulness. These colors are receding, which means they reflect light, and so they do make rooms appear larger and more spacious. Do be aware, though, that if you use really, really dark versions of these colors, it is going to bring the room in. If you want to make your space look a lot bigger, you're going to want to use light, cool colors, not dark, cool colors. Here we have some examples. Okay, we got a couple of bathrooms here. This bathroom is mostly white, but it does have the blue vanity, and then it has this really fun blue and green tile floor to kind of give it some visual interest. Next, we have a little bit darker bathroom with this dark green. It definitely has that natural feel, because that's what green is kind of associated with. Here we have a green bedroom. It does give that larger look to it, and then we have this blue bedroom, and because of the number one, the room is already large, and the blue is a little bit darker, which would kind of make the room feel a little bit smaller. But because this room is already so large and it's got a white ceiling and a light floor and light accessories, it doesn't really close the space in. Here we have some darker versions of this to kind of see some examples of how you can use it. Here we have the dark green wall, and it is being balanced out with a warm color of red violet. Actually, I feel like it's a little bit more violet. I wouldn't say that's red violet, though. It's definitely a little bit more violet. And so you have those cool colors being used here. And then on the next one, we've got a blue and green color scheme being used with the dark blue wall and the green couch. And then it has that large painting with a lot of white in it to kind of help open the space up a little bit more. Okay, you can mix warm and cool colors. It can be done. If you can't really decide, you like them both and you want to combine them in spaces, it can definitely be done. Here's some examples. Okay, we've got this bedroom being used with blues and greens and yellows and oranges, and then we have the living room. It has lots of peaches and oranges and yellow tones to it, but it also has a lot of greenery. And then in the other living room, you've got lots of reds and oranges and things like that with the brick wall and the rug, but you also have blue with that blue sofa, love seat thing. Here we have these rainbows are really in style right now. You're going to see this a lot in interior design, in either decorations or accessories. You're going to see these rainbows, and it's a good example of combining warm and cool colors because a rainbow has warm and cool colors in it. Okay, and then you have your neutral colors. These neutral colors are colors that are not found on the color wheel, and they are used for the base of your decorating. People choose people choose neutral colors as the base of their decorating because when you are wanting to think about designing and decorating in a cost-efficient way, it's a lot easier to update throw pillows, rugs, small-scale furniture, decorative items, paintings, things like that. Those are a lot easier and cheaper to update and replace as your style changes, whereas ripping out flooring, ripping out cabinets, changing wall colors, things like that. Wall colors is not that expensive, but if you choose trendy cabinets or trendy flooring and things like that and you didn't choose a neutral color, it can be a lot harder and more expensive to change those out as your style changes. And so a lot of people will choose neutrals as their background simply because it's a lot easier to decorate around them without having to do some big massive project. And these colors are going to be brown, tan, white, black, and gray. All right, we're going to go into color schemes. I'm going to teach you what these different color schemes mean and how you can identify them in spaces. And then I will explain your assignment. So our first color scheme we're going to talk about is monochromatic. Monochromatic is a color scheme that uses tints, tones, and shades of one color. So in this bathroom here, you see that they are using tints, tones, and shades of a version of pink, and that is throughout their entire space, and so it's a monochromatic space. They used pretty much one color. All right, and then here we have analogous. This is where you use 3 to 5 colors directly next to each other on the color wheel. They can be any colors on the color wheel. For this example, I chose blue, green, blue, violet, and red violet, I think is the colors I chose on this color wheel. And you can see that throughout the space. You've got the bluish green couches and pillows. You've got the violet decor. You have the violet walls. You've got light blues and darker blues, and you have the red or violets being used, and you can see it in this within this space. It can be 3 to 5 colors, so it can be as little as 3, as much as 5, nothing under 3 and nothing over 5. Next we have direct complement. This is a color scheme that uses colors directly across from each other on the color wheel. So again, it can be any color on the color wheel. In this example, I chose blue and orange. As you can see in the diagram, that is the color directly across from each other. You can choose yellow and violet. You can choose red and green. You can choose any color that you would like. I just chose blue and orange for this example, and you can see that with the dark blue wall and the orange couch. Complementary colors can be used for a lot of things. They tend to look really well together. You notice maybe a lot of sports teams use complementary colors in their uniforms. You've got the Denver Broncos, you have Boise State, you even have Mountain Crest up in Logan uses blue and orange. You've got the Vikings use violet and yellow, the Lakers use violet and yellow, Christmas uses red and green, and also if you do mix a color, like if you're painting and you want to dull out a color, if you mix it with its complement color, it dulls it out as well. So if you wanted to dull out blue, you would mix in a little bit of orange with that and vice versa. And that's a way that you can tone a color instead of using gray. Next we have violet and yellow. Here's another example of complementary color schemes with the violet walls and the yellow curtains and yellow couches and yellow decor. Here we have kind of an example of red and green. The red is a little bit more pinkish, but that's okay. You can see that that is done with the wallpaper and the bedding, and then the green wall. All right, and then here we have a split complement. This is where instead of choosing a color's complementary color, you choose a color on each of its side. So as an example, for this one I chose blue-green, Blue-green's complementary color is red-orange, but instead of choosing red-orange, I'm choosing red and orange, and that is that's a split complement. So here's an example of that. You can see that it's got the red-orange backsplash with the blue-green shelving and cabinets and things like that, but then you also have the red accessories and the red bar stools being used. It's very futuristic. It's very kind of like the Jetsons type vibe. I don't know if you like this. I feel like I wouldn't personally have this in my home, but I could see it looking really cool in like a diner or a restaurant if you had that kind of theme. It's a little bit too modern for me, but also a little too bright of colors in my personal opinion. All right, and then here we have double complement. Yes, I know this room is atrocious. It is really hard to find rooms that match this color scheme because it's such a weird color scheme. I don't like it. I've never been able to find one that looks good. But I did the best I could with this one, and it's still, I don't even know if it really matches it that well. This is a color scheme that uses 4 colors arranged in 2 complementary color pairs. And so I picked red and green, and this color, I think I could find red and green in this room, and then violet and yellow, just kind of in the bedding and the rug. And like the decorations on the wall, the green tables, things like that. I don't know. It was really hard to find, and I don't like it. I think it might be a hotel room, based on just kind of how it looks and like looking at the outside. It looks kind of like a hotel room to me, which I mean, I guess I could deal a little bit with more, but I would never have this in my house. Absolutely not. And then here we have a triad. This is where you use a color scheme that uses 3 colors equal distant to each other on the color wheel. So as an example, for this one, I started with red, and if I counted 3 colors, I would then end up with blue, and then if I counted 3 more colors, I'd end up with yellow. If I counted 3 more colors, I'd be back to red. And so not only are you using 3 colors, which means tri, but these colors are also 3 colors apart on the color wheel. So that's really easy to remember because tri means 3, and you use 3 colors that are equal distance on the color wheel. In this example, I chose red, blue, and yellow, and you can see with the yellow walls, the red chairs and pillows, and then the blue in the rug and some blue pillows as well. All right, and then this is a really, really common one that is being used in interior design as of late. A lot of influencers are doing their homes in this style. This is a color scheme using browns or metallics, such as gold, silver, and bronze. Listen, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with this style and this color scheme. I find it boring, in my personal opinion. I think that you could, I personally like color, and I feel like these spaces can be a little bit depressing. They're very popular on Instagram, and so you'll probably see this a lot, and maybe you like it, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having difference of opinions. Me personally, if I live if I'm in a space too long that looks like this, I get depressed. It doesn't have a lot of excitement to me. It doesn't have a lot of, differentiation. It doesn't have a lot of pattern, and it's just not my favorite. But I mean, it is really clean, and I don't think you could have pets or children in these homes, but if it's just you, I don't see there being really an issue. I personally like a little splash of color, and this one just is not it for me. Here we have accent and neutral. This is where the color scheme is still mostly neutral, but you're accenting the space with one specific color. So in this example, it's being accented with different versions of kind of like a teal. You've got the blue pillows, the blue blankets, the blue curtains, and then everything else tends to be a version of beige or gray or brown. Okay, and then we have achromatic. This is a color scheme using black, white, and or gray. You may notice this also in a lot of influencers' homes. It is really popular in the Kardashians. They tend to lean a lot towards the achromatic and the neutral color schemes. They don't seem to have a lot of color in their spaces, and their homes make me sad. They're beautiful. They are beautiful. They're very expensive, and they look very expensive. But as far as is my brain stimulated when I'm in that space? Not really. It just kind of, it's a little drab. Here we have some more examples of achromatic. As you can see, the black, the gray, and the white are the main colors being used within these spaces. They do have kind of a rich look to them, so if you're kind of going for, you want to look wealthier and look like your space costs a lot more money, this is a good way to go. Color is affected by texture, artificial lighting, and natural lighting, depending on if you, in different parts of the day and the sun is coming through your window, your spaces are going to look like different colors because of the light and how it's affecting it, and texture as well. Okay, so here is your assignment that you are going to be doing, and you there's an example in Canvas that will help explain it as well. You are going to create, and then I'm also going to go through the example in this video. So you're going to create a PowerPoint presentation just like you've done in the past. Your PowerPoint will contain 7 slides. You'll have a title slide, and then you're going to show an example of warm colors, an example of cool colors, and then 4 color scheme slides. There are multiple color schemes. There are 9 that we discussed. You're only going to pick 4 of the ones that you like the best maybe. So you're going to find a picture of a room online that uses a warm color scheme, find a picture of a room online that uses a cool color scheme, and then find 4 different pictures online that each display a certain color scheme. You're not going to repeat any, so I don't want to see 2 examples of neutral or 2 examples of achromatic or 2 examples of complementary. I want 4 different ones. Remember, there are 9. You only have to pick 4. You're going to title each picture the color scheme that is being displayed in professional lettering, which means all caps, and you can follow the example. Once you finish this, you are free to go and submit it onto Canvas. So here is the example. You'll title it Warm and Cool Color Schemes, Warm and Cool Colors and Color Schemes, and then put your name. Remember, all caps. Here's an example of warm colors. Here's an example of cool colors. Here's an example of achromatic. Here's an example of complementary. Here's an example of neutral. And here's an example of accented neutral. And that's pretty much your assignment. Remember that as it's easier to find pictures on Pinterest as far as when we're in the school, because Google Images has so many different filters in them and blocks on them from the school. So I would try and stick to Pinterest. And if you aren't finding the pictures you want, you could always look for them on your phone and email them to yourself. And as soon as you have that all put together, you are free to submit it onto Canvas. And that is the lesson on warm and cool colors and color schemes.